It began as an ordinary moment, a routine call, an expected conversation. But by the end of that day, Prince Harry would collapse in disbelief, overcome by the weight of a truth too heavy to carry. The man he believed to be his father, King Charles, may not be his biological parent. It wasn't just a rumor. It was a revelation. And it shattered everything he knew about his past, his family, and even himself. Witnesses close to Harry say the moment unfolded behind closed doors, away from flashing cameras and palace courtiers. But the emotional impact rippled far beyond those walls. Meghan Markle was reportedly the first to reach him, finding him collapsed in their Montecito home, overwhelmed by emotion and disbelief. A single sentence, uttered in hushed tones, had undone decades of royal myth. Charles may not be your father. Why does this matter? Because Harry isn't just any royal. He's the son of Diana, the people's princess, and the brother of a future king. His identity has been etched in stone by the public, the press, and the palace. And now, that identity is unraveling. This isn't just family gossip. This is a genetic bombshell that could redefine royal lineage, shake the monarchy's foundation, and tear open wounds the Windsors had long buried. To understand the scale of this collapse, we need to step back into the complicated, pressure-cooked history of a royal family where secrets don't stay secret forever. Prince Harry's emotional implosion didn't begin with one sentence. It began decades ago, inside Buckingham Palace, where love, legacy, and lies have long collided. The royal family's complex history. Prince Harry was born into a dynasty that values image over intimacy, power over vulnerability. From the start, he was the spare, the backup plan for the heir. His older brother, Prince William, was groomed for kingship. Harry? He was expected to smile, salute, and support the system, even if he didn't understand it. His relationship with King Charles has always been layered. There were moments of warmth, hiking at Balmoral, family events, shared jokes. But there were also silences, gaps, and the looming presence of Diana's absence. As Harry grew, so did his sense of otherness. The press labeled him the wild child. The palace offered him duty, not direction. And behind closed doors, the family rarely spoke of feelings, only responsibilities. Now, with the possibility that Charles may not be his biological father, that lifelong emotional gap makes tragic sense. If true, it recontextualizes every royal photograph, every headline, every father-son moment staged for the cameras. Harry's collapse wasn't just about genetics. It was about the realization that he may have spent his life playing a role in someone else's script, a role written in palace ink, not blood. But who lit the match that sparked this emotional explosion? Who pulled back the curtain on one of the monarchy's best-guarded secrets? The answer is as shocking as the secret itself: Meghan Markle. And her revelation may have forever altered Harry's path and the public's view of Britain's royal institution. Meghan Markle's revelation. Meghan Markle has never played by palace rules. From the moment she entered Harry's life, she challenged centuries of royal tradition, but no one expected her to be the one to deliver the truth that would emotionally detonate her husband's world. According to insiders, Meghan was the one who uncovered evidence that pointed to the possibility that King Charles was not Harry's biological father. How she found out remains guarded. Some suggest private family documents. Others claim a royal insider finally broke their silence. But what's clear is that Meghan confronted Harry, not with accusation, but with compassion. She reportedly told him, "You deserve to know your truth." That sentence, though simple, sent Harry down an emotional spiral he never saw coming. Meghan didn't break the family. She revealed what had been broken for decades. The public response was instant and divided. Supporters praised Meghan's honesty and loyalty. Detractors accused her of sabotage. But for Harry, it wasn't about Meghan's motives. It was about finally seeing the possibility that his identity, his lineage, his place in the royal narrative may have been based on a fabrication. Meghan didn't just support him through it, she became the guardian of his unraveling truth. But even as Harry processed this revelation, another emotional force pulled him back across the Atlantic. King Charles's failing health. Was this man his biological father or not? The answer still hung in the air, but loyalty, love, and legacy called him back to London in what would be a defining visit. Harry's visit to the UK and his father's health. Despite the emotional chaos he was facing, Prince Harry boarded a plane to the UK in early spring, alone, unannounced, and solemn. His destination, Clarence House. His mission, to see his father, King Charles, who was undergoing aggressive cancer treatment. Whether Charles was his biological father or not, he remained, at least in history, his father in name. The meeting between the two was said to be brief, quiet, and emotionally charged. According to palace insiders, no cameras were present, no staff, just two men, one with a crown, one with questions. Some reports suggest that Harry never raised the issue of paternity in that moment, perhaps out of respect, perhaps out of fear. But the tension between love and doubt hung heavy in the room. Harry's visit wasn't just about closure, it was about commitment. Despite being pushed out of palace operations, despite years of tabloid wars and fractured relationships, Harry came back. Because no matter the DNA, Charles is the man who shaped his world. Harry's journey is no longer about allegiance to a family name. It's about finding truth in the gray between title and love. But stepping foot in Britain brought more than emotional weight. It brought legal war. Because while Harry faced personal truth, he was also fighting for his family's safety. A prince without full royal protection. A man in court, not for status, but for survival. And that legal battle speaks volumes. Security concerns and Harry's legal battle. For most of his life, Prince Harry never had to think twice about security. Royal bodyguards, armored convoys, tight logistics. His protection was automatic, funded by the crown, and woven into his daily existence. But after stepping down from royal duties in 2020, that safety net vanished. Now, every trip to the UK comes with risk, and Harry has been forced to fight in court just to feel safe on his own soil. The legal battle began quietly but quickly escalated into public view. Harry filed for judicial review after being denied police protection during visits, despite offering to pay for it himself. The Home Office pushed back, arguing that Harry no longer qualified for state-funded security. To many, it was a bureaucratic issue, but to Harry, it was deeply personal. In his own words, "I was born into this life. I didn't choose it." He wasn't just fighting for himself, but for Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet. This legal clash reveals a painful contradiction. Harry is still royal by blood, still a figure of global attention, yet treated as a civilian in matters of safety. It's not about entitlement. It's about vulnerability. And this court battle is symbolic of everything Harry has been wrestling with since leaving royal life. When your own family cannot, or will not, guarantee your safety, it forces you to question where you really belong. Especially when you've just learned you might not even share their bloodline. But even as the legal gears turned and the press continued to swarm, Harry found solace in one mission that has never failed him. A project born of purpose, pain, and post-war healing. A cause bigger than the crown. The Invictus Games, where Harry finally found something royal that was his alone. The role of the Invictus Games and Prince Harry's personal mission. If there is one place where Prince Harry's legacy lives untarnished, it is within the Invictus Games. Founded in 2014, the Games are a celebration of resilience, bringing together wounded, injured, and sick service personnel from around the world. For Harry, a veteran himself, it's not just a project, it's his soul's anchor. In a life shaped by palace duty and paparazzi drama, Invictus represents something radically different. Meaning, here, Harry is not a royal. He is a leader, a brother in arms, a veteran using his platform to uplift others. Year after year, the Invictus Games have grown in scale and stature. And even as royal relationships fracture, Harry's presence at the Games remains unwavering. He speaks with emotion. He listens with intent. He leads with heart. But what many don't see is how deeply the Invictus Games intertwine with Harry's personal healing. These are men and women who've lost limbs, suffered trauma, faced death, and emerged stronger. In them, Harry sees not only strength, but reflection. And now, in the wake of revelations about his biological origins, that connection has only deepened. Here, he's not a prince living a lie. He's a man discovering truth and choosing purpose over pedigree. But purpose isn't always armor. And even in moments of clarity, emotion finds its way in. Behind the cheering crowds and polished speeches, Harry carries a burden few understand. Because, as the public watches, the media judges, and the palace stays silent, Harry is slowly unraveling under the weight of too much truth. Prince Harry's struggles with public perception. It's one thing to wrestle with private pain. It's another to do it with the entire world watching. Since the moment he stepped outside the institution, Prince Harry has become a lightning rod for public opinion. Hero or traitor, victim or manipulator. Every headline paints him differently, and none leave room for complexity. Harry's every move is filtered through bias. His candid interviews are dismissed as oversharing. His silence is framed as sulking, and the presence of Meghan only magnifies the fire. Some accuse her of controlling him. Others call him brave for defending her. But few ask the obvious question. What if he's just a man trying to survive? A man trapped between the life he left and the truth he's just discovered. A man whose identity has been shattered in real time. The press rarely gives him space to be human, and that has consequences. Sources close to Harry say the pressure has been relentless. panic attacks, nightmares, moments of rage. The collapse, when it came, wasn't just about family secrets. It was about years of repression, ridicule, and a system that never let him breathe. The royal suit may be gone, but the expectations never left. And then came the breaking point. The moment that headlines couldn't fake. The moment no security guard could stop. A single breath, a flood of emotion, and Prince Harry collapsed. Not from weakness, but from the unbearable weight of knowing he had lived a life that may not have been entirely his own. The impact of the truth about his father, the revelation hit like a tidal wave. For years, whispers swirled about James Hewitt, Princess Diana's former lover, and the striking resemblance he shares with Prince Harry. But until now, those whispers remained unconfirmed, pushed aside by palace silence and royal dignity. Now, with Meghan's revelation and private confirmations, the truth is closer than ever. For Harry, the news is not about tabloid headlines or public scandal. It's about identity. Every memory, every milestone, every father-son moment with King Charles now exists in a new light. The quiet indifference, the missed birthdays, the awkward handshakes. Could they have been signs all along? Or was Charles himself unsure, acting out of denial? These questions plague Harry's mind daily, and the answers may never come. The emotional collapse, reported to have taken place in the family's Montecito home, was not dramatic. It was devastating. Meghan found him seated on the floor, silent, frozen, eyes glazed. For 30 minutes, he couldn't speak. A man stripped not of status, but of certainty. Who am I? Who raised me? And where do I fit in a family I may not truly be a part of? These aren't questions of scandal. These are questions of existence. As Harry begins to rebuild from the emotional rubble, all eyes turn back to London. Because in every family, even royal ones, truth doesn't stay buried forever. And the reactions of those still inside the gates of Buckingham Palace may just reveal whether the institution stands for blood or for brotherhood. The role of the royal family in Harry's journey. The news rocked Harry's personal world. But what about the monarchy? How did the other royals respond? Buckingham Palace has issued no official comment, maintaining the traditional wall of silence. But insiders reveal that Prince William was furious. Not at Harry, but at the leak. The fear isn't about truth. It's about damage control. Sources say William has not spoken directly to Harry since the news broke. Their already icy relationship has grown colder. For William, the monarchy must endure, no matter the personal cost. For Harry, the monarchy must evolve, or it will devour its own. Their paths, once side by side, now run in opposite directions. And if Harry is indeed not Charles's son, the tension becomes more than personal. It becomes dynastic. Queen Camilla has reportedly withdrawn from the topic altogether. And Charles? Those closest to him say he remains shaken, but focused on duty. Whether he knows the full truth or not, Charles's silence speaks volumes, and it leaves Harry more alone than ever. In a family defined by roles and appearances, the man searching for his real name may no longer fit in any frame. Meghan's support and the family's privacy. Behind the palace drama and the relentless media glare, Prince Harry has one anchor: Meghan Markle. Through all the revelations, the security fight, the royal rift, and now the possibility of a different father, Meghan has remained by his side, not just as a partner, but as a shield, a protector of his truth and their family's peace. While some critics frame Meghan as the source of disruption, the reality is far more nuanced. Meghan has been the only constant voice urging Harry to prioritize his mental health, his safety, and his identity over the weight of tradition. She didn't bring chaos. She uncovered it. And when the collapse came, she didn't exploit it. She embraced it. According to close friends, Meghan put her own public schedule on hold to care for Harry after his breakdown, ensuring he had space, support, and safety. The couple's commitment to privacy has only intensified since the paternity revelation. While the world demands answers, Meghan and Harry have chosen to limit public appearances, screen media inquiries, and keep Archie and Lilibet away from the chaos. It's a delicate balance, staying present enough to fulfill commitments, but distant enough to heal. In this silence, they are crafting a boundary that no crown, no court, and no press outlet can breach. But no amount of silence could hold back the wave of emotion that had built over decades. And when the full weight of Harry's broken reality came crashing down, there were no cameras, no press, just tears, breathless sobs, and a prince on the floor, no longer carrying the monarchy, just trying to carry himself. The emotional fallout, Harry's collapse. The image was stark. Prince Harry, seated alone on the hardwood floor of his Montecito home, staring into nothing, shattered by the truth he never asked to hear. When Meghan entered the room, he didn't speak. He couldn't. His hands trembled. His face was pale. He had, at long last, collapsed, not from scandal, but from heartbreak. For years, Harry had carried the weight of a public legacy. The son of Princess Diana, the brother of a future king, a military veteran, a husband, a father. But in that moment, all of it melted away, leaving only a man, a son without a father, a boy whose identity had been quietly distorted by a system built on secrecy. The breakdown wasn't dramatic. It was devastating. Meghan sat beside him, held his hand, and let the silence speak. Mental health has always been a cause close to Harry's heart. But now, it's personal in a way the world may never fully understand. His breakdown revealed just how much pressure he's been under, not just since leaving the royal family, but since the moment he was born into it. With this collapse came clarity. Something had to change, not just for him, but for his children. They would never grow up with questions about who they were. Harry would make sure of that. And as the fog of grief began to lift, Harry faced a question as old as the crown itself. Where does he go from here? He has no title to protect him, no crown to claim, just a truth that broke him, and a future he must now rebuild from the ruins. What this means for Harry's future. In the royal family. Prince Harry's future within the royal family is now more uncertain than ever. Already semi-detached from the firm since 2020, this latest revelation could mark a final emotional severance. Not just from Buckingham Palace, but from the narrative that once defined his very existence. Who is Harry Windsor without the Windsor? For now, there are no plans to resume royal duties, no tours, no balcony appearances. But insiders say Harry remains committed to his patronages, particularly those that support veterans and mental health. The possibility of a new foundation, separate from Archewell and free of royal branding, has been quietly floated among his advisors. He doesn't want to run from royalty. He wants to rewrite what it means to carry the legacy of Diana on his own terms. This revelation may also open the door for a broader conversation within the monarchy about transparency, about family, about blood and identity. But don't expect that door to swing wide overnight. For now, Harry's next steps are cautious, deliberate, and deeply personal. He may no longer walk the gilded corridors of Buckingham Palace, but he is carving a new path. And this one isn't built on inheritance, it's built on truth. Truth may have broken him, but it has also freed him. As Harry rises from collapse, he begins the next chapter not as a prince, but as a man, a father, a survivor of royal machinery. And now, the world watches as he steps into history, not as a Windsor, but as himself. A new chapter for Prince Harry and the royal family. Prince Harry's journey has never followed a straight line. From the palace nursery to the front lines of Afghanistan, from royal walkabouts to podcast confessions, his story has been one of rebellion, reinvention, and resilience. But this moment, this collapse, this truth, may be the turning point that defines his legacy more than any title ever could. The British monarchy is facing a reckoning. A generation raised on transparency, justice, and self-discovery is demanding more than tradition. They want truth. And Harry, perhaps unknowingly, has become the reluctant face of that. Evolution. His pain is raw. His healing is ongoing. But his willingness to face it, publicly, painfully, and without a script, makes him not less royal, but more human. As the world turns the page on this latest royal chapter, one truth remains. Blood may define lineage, but courage defines legacy. And in choosing truth over tradition, vulnerability over silence, and healing over heritage, Prince Harry has begun writing the most important chapter of all, his own.